ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. Om. So we finished the 19th point. I don't know whether we have finished the 20th point also. Anyway, we'll just summarize the 20th chapter. Vidusham avidyalesha sadbhavat jagaritaadi prapancha pratibhaso yujyate iti shankayaha nirasa. Gnani, see, their stand is like this. Gnani, though enlightened, he continues to be an individual. He has got samsarika pratyayas. He has got thoughts of individuality. He has got a sense of individuality. And he behaves also as if he is an individual with others. So he behaves like an individual. He entertains the thoughts of individuality and the world and all the relationship with the world. Therefore, Gnani, because of this reason, he is able to teach. See, how is Gnani able to teach others? Their stand, you see. The real point is, it is adhyasa, it is superimposition. What is superimposed is corrected. Corrected means superimposition is from the standpoint of superimposition, not from the Atma. For the Atma, there is no superimposition. There is no Anatma. Neither there is Anatma, nor there is an imposition of Atma and Atma, mutual superimposition. This understanding is Jnanam. There is no Anatma. Anatma comes only in the wake of superimposition, means only due to misunderstanding. Only due to wrong knowledge, Anatma comes to appear. And that Anatma it is both simultaneous. It is only way of telling, we divide them into two, but it is one alone. Atma appearing as an Anatma, and that Anatma is mistaking with Atma mutually. This is called Adhyasa. This Adhyasa is only a misconception. It is not an event. It is not an actual occurrence. It is only a misunderstanding. It is only a misconception from the standpoint of misconception alone. This misconception doesn't exist for Atma. See, note this point. Misconception is from the standpoint of misconception alone. It doesn't exist for Atma. So Atma remains ever free. Atma has neither Anatma, nor there is a mutual misunderstanding. So Atma remains ever free and non-dual. Okay? So a Jnani understands. When he understands that he is free from Adhyasa, he always stands without Adhyasa. Without an individuality, he stands as Brahman. Then the Jnani teaching is only again a superimposition from the Jnani standpoint. It is a superimposition alone. It is a superimposition. So that superimposition, he understands, Jnani, that what is superimposed is not there for him. He understands what is superimposed is not there for him. It is only, see, even after a misunderstanding is corrected, even after a misunderstanding is corrected, it may appear. Misunderstanding is corrected. Corrected means it is not there really, but still it is a superficial assumption, a falsified assumption. Okay, a falsified, it is already falsified, doesn't exist, still it is assumed, though it is understood that it doesn't exist. So this point is not clear to them, to Mulavidya Vadins, and they say Jnani teaches because he stands as an individual and entertains the thoughts of, he entertains the sense of individuality and interaction with people. Sense of individuality and interaction with people. These things he entertains. Why does he entertain? They could have told it is falsified. They say no. See, this adhyasa is not there for him. It appears as if he is an individual, appears as if he is interacting from the standpoint of others. That would have explained everything very clearly. He is not himself an individual. He doesn't entertain a thought of individuality. He doesn't interact with others because there is no other for him. There is no other for him. He alone is non-dual Chaitanyam. Okay. So that he appears as an individual is falsified, means is understood that it doesn't exist for him. Okay. It doesn't exist for him. So that appears as if there from the Jnani standpoint. But it is false for him. It doesn't exist for him because he stands as a non-dual. This would have explained the point clearly. But what they say is, the stand they take is a little confusing. He entertains a sense of individuality and also interacts with others in order to teach. See, in order to teach others, does he need to entertain an individual sense of individuality and interaction with others? And this sense of individuality and interaction with others, they say he knows it is mithya, but still he entertains. Then why? Why does he entertain at all? We could say he doesn't entertain, it appears from others' standpoint. He doesn't entertain, but that appears due to adhyasa, we say. So where is adhyasa? Adhyasa is from the Jnani standpoint. From whosoever standpoint is adhyasa, that adhyasa appears to that adhyasa standpoint, not to the one who has corrected the adhyasa. He doesn't entertain the sense of individuality and interacting with others because he falsified them. So he is free from vyavahara, he is free from sense of individuality. This has to be very clear, like in deep sleep. If there is a deep sleep, if a person is in deep sleep, does he see his own body? He doesn't see his own body. Whether the head is in the northern direction or southern direction, legs are in southern direction or northern direction, which side is the head, which side is the leg, he doesn't have, because a person who is asleep. But the body is visible to the person who is awake. I see, he is sleeping. A sleeping person's body is seen by a waking person. Sleeping person himself doesn't have a body. If a person has a body, does he sleep? Person having a body is a conscious of the body, at the same time going asleep. Such two things are contradictory and it doesn't exist in anybody's life. I having a body, I am conscious of the body, at the same time free from the body. I am conscious of the body, at the same time free from the consciousness of the body, free from the sense of the body. I have a sense of the body, at the same time I am free from the sense of the body. And I am just a Sushupti Swarupam. These two are contradictory. Once he understands I am the free from the sense of the body, like a person who is in deep sleep, he is not conscious of his waking body. Because to be conscious, he has to be in waking. He has to become awake. But the wakefulness he transcends. Therefore, he doesn't have the waking body. It is the person another person who is asleep, he sees the body because I see my body and I see his body also. A sleeping person doesn't have a body for himself, but a waking person sees another person sleeping and sees his body. Okay? And attributes that this body is there for him. Through that body, he is sleeping. Where is he sleeping? He is sleeping on the cot. See, you ask that where is the person sleeping? Where is he? Where is the sleeping person? If you ask, where is the deep sleep? Does deep sleep exist on a cot, in a room, or in a floor? Where does exist sleep? In deep sleep is free from the world. So it doesn't have a cot, it doesn't have a room, doesn't have a floor or building or anything. It doesn't have a location. It doesn't have a body. Deep sleep is a non-dual experience, free from the body, free from the location, free from the relation with the world, because world doesn't exist. But who says that a sleeping person means a person who is asleep? Where? On the bed on the first floor. On the bed on the first floor. So the bed and first floor, do they exist for the sleeping experience? The sleep experience and the deep sleep experience? Deep sleep experience doesn't have it. Okay? But that he is sleeping, who says? He is sleeping on the bed, sleeping in the first floor. On the first floor, who says that? To whom does it apply? This experience applies to whom? To another waker. To another waker, the person is sleeping there. The person means is referring to the body. Body is sleeping on the bed on the first floor. So this body, bed and the floor and all this don't exist for him because they have become false for him. He falsified. He stands as a non-dual like in deep sleep. Therefore, Jnani, when he becomes free, even that he is appearing as an individual, he is teaching to others. This appearance is from the Jnani standpoint, not from his standpoint. That he appears as an individual, that he teaches others, interact with others, even this is only from the Ajnani standpoint because that needs adhyasa. That is only an adhyasa. And he understands he is free from that adhyasa. Jnani himself understands free from individuality, free from interaction with the world. That is the true state, true nature of Jnani. Okay, but now here Mulavidya says, he teaches. To be able to teach, he has to retain individuality, sense of individuality and interaction with the world. Interaction with the world. He has to retain his individuality, means he is a part of the world and interacts with the world. To be, he is in the part, he occupies the world. That means he is in the part of a world. He is in the world and interacts with the world. These two are required in order to teach. The question comes, how does it happen? Because when he transcends them, he understands them false. After understanding false, do you stay there? Do you stay in the world and still interact with the world? Now they say, yes, he does it. That's because prarabdha is there. What is that prarabdha? How can prarabdha exist? The prarabdha exists because there is a trace of ignorance still sticking to him. This is the crux. This is where the whole problem starts. Mulavidya prakriya deviates. That means it follows a different line. This is where we differ. He continues to entertain an individuality and interacts with the world. In order to be able to teach others, okay, to be able to teach others, he entertains an individuality, he is a part of the world and he interacts with the world. But why? How is he able to do that? On falsification, he becomes a free. That falsified one may appear. That's a different thing. Falsified means it doesn't exist for the jnani. They say it is falsified. They talk he understands it as a mithya, but still he continues to have it. This is a contradiction in their talking. He understands, if once he understands it to be mithya, he doesn't continue to have it. But they say he understands it to be mithya, still continues to have it. Because a trace of avidya continues. A trace of avidya continues. Now the question arises, if a trace of avidya continues, then how can you call him jnani? That means the avidya is not removed. Okay, so nanu cha jivan muktanam nissamshayam atmabatta bodhe jatepi. So does he falsify his adhyasa, his individuality or not? They say he understands it to be mithya. They have got a peculiar definition of mithya. Yet he continues to be individual due to some samskara of avidya, due to a small trace of avidya being left out. A small trace of avidya is left out. Jivan muktanam nissamshayam atmabodhe jate. Though he has got, definitely he got knowledge, yet a certain degree, a small trace of ignorance remains. This is a very strange thing. Why retaining a small trace of ignorance? Should ignorance go away completely, or should a little bit should be retained? Tatascha upapadyate. See, and because on account of that, retaining a trace of ignorance, what happens? Samsarika pratyaya tad vyavaharanam apya anuvrittihi. This is the thing. He has a sense of individuality. Samsarika pratyaya. Samsarika pratyaya means a certain adhyasa. Samsarika pratyaya is certain adhyasa, certain individuality, and interaction with others. These both are tenable. Anuvrittihi, both these continue only due to, for what reason? We say this may appear to others due to adhyasa of others, but himself transcends it, falsifies it. Like a sleeping person leaves the body and sleeps, doesn't retain the body. Sleeping person doesn't retain the body or the bed or the room. He has neither the body nor the bed nor room. He remains free from that. But it may appear for others as he is sleeping on the bed and he is sleeping in the room. And who is he? He, the person who is lying there. He is neither lying, nor has a bed, nor has a room. Okay? In his experience, he has neither he is lying, because there is no body to lie. Lie or lay, whatever you say. For the body to lie, he doesn't have a body. Therefore, he can't say, I am lying. Or I have a bed. I am lying on the bed. Or I am lying in the room. These three he doesn't have. Is an example, is an illustration. Illustration is meant to clarify certain point. Illustration itself is not an independent matter of study. Okay, that we are going to say later. So, instead of that, what he says is, he retains that individuality to be able to teach others, then why retain individuality? This is where he says, a trace of avidya remains. This is where the problem starts. Problem starts here. A trace of ignorance remains in him, on account of which, and that is the only reason that he retains an individuality and teaches. That means a jnani who teaches carries certain degree of avidya. That means avidya cannot be quantified into a small degree and bigger degree. A bigger avidya, a smaller avidya, a massive avidya, trace of avidya, we can't do that division. That means he has an avidya. If he has an avidya, how can he teach? What does he teach? If he has an avidya, what does he teach? If he teaches his own individuality, that I have an individuality and the same, if he is free from individuality, then he can't teach. Okay? Then if he retains individuality, then you can't say he is free. He is not free from individuality. He is not free from individuality. Then he is not free from Dvaitam. Then how can you call him Jnani? He says, we can call him Jnani because though he understands his individuality to be mithya, still he retains it. He understands his sense of individuality to be mithya, still he retains it. See, he understands it to be mithya, 1 point. Yet he retains it, 2nd point. And his retaining is due to trace of avidya, 3rd point. If you take the 2, that means he retains the individuality, and that retaining of individuality is due to a trace of avidya. Because of these 2 reasons, the first one becomes doubtful. That he understood it to be mithya becomes wrong. Though they use the word that he understood it to be mithya, though they call that he has understood it to be mithya, but if he understands, the next 2 cannot continue, cannot follow. What is that? Yet he retains a sense of individuality and interaction with the world, and that retaining of individuality is due to a trace of avidya. These next 2 cannot exist if he has understood to be mithya. So they say lip service that he understood it to be mithya, yet he retains these 2. That shows his very understanding it to be mithya. His understanding of falsehood is under question. Because that only a lip service, it is not actually happened. This is what Siddhanti questions. The mithyatvam is not understood. If he understands, the next 2 can't continue. Okay? Retaining a sense of individuality, and that too due to a trace of avidya. This can't be. Now he says, tatascha upapadyate, since he retains a trace of avidya, then he has got an individuality and interaction. These 2 are tenable. After understanding mithya, how can these 2 are tenable? That means his very idea of understanding it to be mithya is shaky. Next you say, tan mithya iti manyamanaho. He understands, though he has got a trace of ignorance, though he has got a sense of individuality, he retains the sense of individuality, and there is a trace of avidya in order to retain that individuality, yet he understands it to be mithya. What? That sense of individuality and a trace of avidya, he understands it to be mithya. Therefore, he doesn't take it seriously. Doesn't believe it, doesn't take it seriously. Tasman nokta doshaha. Therefore, the defect you accuse of, the defect which you charge us with, the defect which you accuse us of doesn't stand, doesn't stick to us. Therefore, there is no defect in our stand. Who says? Purvapakshi. Naitad yuktamiva. Swamiji replies, this is not at all acceptable. This is not right. Apparently this is not right. This doesn't seem to be right, because atmanas samsaritvam yadi vidvasyamanaha. If he thinks that he is an individual and interacting with people, that retaining individuality and interacting with people itself is samsari. Itself is adhyasa. Okay. Samsari vadeva jnani san. Though he is a jnani, he is a samsari only. That means samsaritvam is not gone. Then what is his nature of his jnanam? Jnanam is only a belief. He believed that I am Brahman, I am not this body. He believed it, but still he retains his individuality. Samsari vadeva jnani san. He is a jnani, yet he retains his individuality. That means his jnanam is only a belief based upon the books. It is only a belief, not his own discovery, not his own self-understanding. It is not his self-understanding. If his self-understanding, he would not have retained the individuality. He says he retains the individuality and interacts with the world. Is one of the people in the society. And therefore he is a jnani. Since he is a jnani, he doesn't take it seriously. Kasman nashraddatte tat satyatma piti prashtavyam. How can you say? How can you say that he is not taking it seriously? Because he is taking seriously, that's why he sees that, that's why he retains the sense of individuality. So how can you say that he is not taking it seriously? Because he is retaining individuality, you have told already. That means two things are there. He is a jnani, yet retains an individuality. He says, in spite of jnani, retains an individuality. We say, since he retains individuality, then his jnanitvam is under question. We say. They say he is a jnani, no doubt, yet he retains an individuality because of a trace of avidya. This is their contention. And Siddhanti Swamiji replies, if he retains an individuality, his jnanitvam is only a name's sake. You are only calling jnani, but jnanitvam has not taken place. Because jnani means he is free from sense of individuality, then only he is a jnani. And he doesn't feel that he is a part of the world and interacting with the world. He is not part of the world. Whole world is himself. Whole world is himself, is not part of the world. He doesn't interact with people. The whole world is himself. He becomes one with the whole world becomes one with him. He doesn't retain an individuality and doesn't remain an individual to be able to interact. If he remains, then his jnanitvam is not true. We question his very jnanitvam. That he is a jnani is under question. He says, no, he knows it, but he is a jnani, yet he retains individuality because he knows it is false. What does it mean? He knows it false means what? According to them, mithya means it is there now, it is there here, it is here now, yet it will go by knowledge. Mithyatvam is neither real nor unreal. It is a very peculiar state. It is there, no doubt, but it will go on knowledge. It will go later with knowledge. So therefore, at an in-between state is called mithya. Their very definition of mithya is very strange. Anyway, more will come later. Tat satyatvam aviti prashta. Avidya samskaranuvritteva kevalam karanam vyavahare. Now he gives another explanation. Who? Mulavidyavadi. See, you understand, The individuality he retains, but that is not due to his ignorance. He is jnani. See, he is defending. He is defending his stand. He is jnani. He is not ajnani. But if he is jnani, then why does he retain the individuality? Avidya samskara anuvritti, because a trace of avidya retains. A trace of avidya retains. A trace of avidya remains only due to the trace of avidya, not due to avidya. Not due to ignorance, only a trace of avidya. Not due to ignorance. See the way of talking. It is due to a trace of ignorance, not due to ignorance. Kevalam karanam vyavahare. Only that is the reason, not the real avidya. Vidyayatu tan mityatvamagamaha. And even the trace of avidya which he retains, he knows that it is mithya. He knows, he understood that is mithya. Let there be a trace of avidya. When he knows that it is mithya, it doesn't make any difference. He retains a trace of avidya on account of which he has an individuality, but he knows it is a mithya, therefore let it continue. Let it continue. When I know it is a mithya, so what? This is what his defense. Okay. Tan mithyatva avagamaha iti chet na anivrittayam avidyayam katham vidvan iti. Swamiji says, when the sense of individuality is not gone, not negated, and his trace of avidya is retaining, you yourself say that it is due to trace of avidya. He is an individual. When the avidya he retains, when avidya is not gone, whether trace or whatever, a certain part of avidya when he is retaining, how can you call him jnani? This is the straight question of Swamiji. When he retains a small degree of avidya, how can you call him jnani? A jnani is a one who is totally removed his of ignorance. How can you retain a small part of it and then you call it is something like a person has got a disease. It's not completely cured because still a part of disease is continuing, and still you say he is healthy. When he has got still a trace of a part of small degree of disease, you can't call him healthy like as I am now. Can't call it healthy because still a lot of things are remaining. So anivrittayam avidyayam katham vidvaniti. You can't call him jnani. They say he is a jnani, yet he retains a trace of ignorance. This is a contradiction. Jnani retaining a trace of ignorance is contradiction. This contradiction is the basis for the whole book. Whole book. Their stand is this. And Swamiji's stand is this contradiction is not right. Complete avidya should go away, then only he becomes a complete jnani. Okay, 20th chapter is a small paragraph. We have finished. We will proceed to the 21st one. Jivan mukter gaunatva svikare pina doshan nistaraha atha ucheta. Not all Mulavidyavadins, but some of the Mulavidyavadins try to explain like this. What do they say? Navidyaya nishesha vilayaha samsara mityatvavagame apekshate. They say, you don't have to remove the you have been holding on to that a small degree of avidya he is retaining. A trace of avidya he is retaining. Taking that, you are making a big issue of it. We told you a small degree of avidya, it's not complete avidya. We told you it's only a small trace of avidya and making a big issue out of it. Ammo. Na avidyayaha nischaya vilayaha. Understand, the small trace of avidya doesn't count, doesn't make any difference. It's only a small trace of avidya. The major portion of avidya is gone. Major and a small trace. The major portion is gone. Just a small retaining doesn't make any difference. Okay? Major, he is not eating the major poison, it's only a small particle of potassium cyanide. Cyanide, he takes a small particle only. So only one particle, one dust particle, not much. So you cannot call it poison. Poison means it should be one, a big piece like this, at least a few milliliters, 50 or 100 milliliters of liquid. It's only just one drop. One drop cannot be counted as a poison. Okay? One drop of cyanide is nothing. Na vidyayaha nishesha vilayaha samsara mithyatva vagame apekshate. To understand samsara to be mithya, you don't need to totally negate completely avidya. They say, complete negation of avidya is not required. For what? To understand the samsara to be mithya. To understand samsara to be mithya, you don't need to negate avidya completely. Only that major portion of avidya, which is the cause of samsara, that alone has to be negated. If you retain a trace of it, samsara cannot be counted. Kastarhi prarabdha. So for sake of prarabdha, a small degree of avidya is retained to continue prarabdha. Prarabdha has to continue because he has to remain as an individual and then work in the world, undergo experiences, and also interact with people, and he has to do all those things. For that, prarabdha karma upadana avidya vetirikta vidya vilayaha. So that degree of avidya, a small degree of avidya required for prarabdha to continue, because prarabdha is continuing. Understand, he has got a sense of individuality because of prarabdha. Why prarabdha? Because of a small degree of ignorance. That much let it be there. Let it be there because for prarabdha that is required. Therefore, retaining a small degree of avidya is not a problem. Who says? The Mulavidyavadi. It's not Siddhanta. Note it. A small degree we retain, okay? They say. But what makes a difference? The major part of avidya is negated. That really is the cause of samsara. So in samsara, all other karma is removed, only prarabdha is retained. Only prarabdha doesn't count much. All other karmas are gone. All other karmas, his past sanchita karma is gone. All sanchita karma is gone. All sanchita karma is gone. Only due to prarabdha, only for sake of prarabdha, a little bit of ignorance remains. Very small degree, doesn't count. Sasa jivan muktasya samrittah. The major portion of avidya, which is the cause of samsara, that avidya, that major degree is removed, is negated. And that much of negation of that major avidya, I don't know, my English is poor, I don't know how to use that. The major portion of avidya, the predominant portion of avidya, the major portion of avidya is negated in case of a jivan mukta. He is a jivan mukta. So only little prarabdha remains and a little bit of a small trace of ignorance. Okay. So avidyakrita prarabdha nimittayoh. Avidyakrita prarabdha nimittayoh samsarika pratyaya vyavahara ubhaya nivrittihi. Therefore, this prarabdha and a trace of avidya, these two account for his sense of his sense of individuality and interacting with people. To prarabdha and its cause is a trace of ignorance. Prarabdha and a trace of ignorance, these two account for his sense of individuality interacting in the world. As long as the prarabdha continues, so long he will do that. Once prarabdha is exhausted, all of them is gone. Tan mithyatva anusandhanam cha navirudyati. Therefore, retaining a sense of individuality and also prarabdha and a small degree of avidya, a small trace of avidya, these three are not opposed to his understanding of mithyatvam and being a jnani. It doesn't oppose his being a jnani and his understanding the world to be samsara, to be mithyatvam. He understands mithya and retains a small degree of it. It is not a contradiction. It's not at all a contradiction. He may retain a little degree. Prarabdha he retains. And also a small degree of ignorance. And a small degree of his individuality. To be able to just interact with people. And it is not against his jnanam. He is a jnani, he understood it to be mithya and still retains it. So this contradiction is not there. Who says? Purvapakshi. Therefore, atayeva sampradayikaha. Then when will that go? That will go when the prarabdha gets exhausted. Along with prarabdha, the trace of avidya also goes away. When the trace of avidya goes away, his body goes away and his sense of individuality goes away. When the body goes away, sense of individuality goes away, then he becomes a real Advaitin. That is a Videha Mukti, attainment of liberation on the falling of the body. On the falling of the body, he becomes liberated without the body, free from the body. But earlier he was liberated with the body. In spite of the body, he was liberated. No, he was liberated with the body. But the body is due to a small trace one, so it doesn't affect him. Now he will be liberated without the body. Videha kalina eva mukhya mokshaha. Therefore, the after the falling of the body, when the trace of avidya goes away, now the complete avidya goes away. Avidya remains nothing on the falling of the body. All avidya is completely gone. Then he attains the real non-duality. Stula sukshma ubhaya rupayah avidyayas tadanimeva nisseshan dvasterityahu. Because the major avidya and a trace of avidya. The major avidya and trace of avidya, both the avidyas are completely eliminated with the falling of the body. Then he attains the total Advaita. But when he retains the body, the major avidya goes away, but a trace of avidya remains, a prarabdha remains, a sense of individuality remains. He has to interact with people. Then what happens in Jivan Mukti state? When he is liberated while living, liberated with the body, what will happen? Jivan Muktistu Tanukruta Samskara Pidhana. Then in Jivan Mukti state, there also he is liberated while living, but a small trace of avidya retains in order to just to continue the body, just a superficial body to continue. Body is superficial, just to continue the superficial body he has to do. So samskara abhidhana jagradadi pratibhasa. Then he retains the individuality, then he has got a waking state. Without waking state, how will he teach others? So he has got a waking state, he has got a trace of appearance of the body, appearance of the waking state. Prayojika kachita vidya vartate. A small degree of avidya remains. It doesn't make any difference, don't worry. Tasya cha avidyaleshasya tatvanusandhaneva prakshayo bhavatiti. And that avidya also, once he becomes a jnani, a small degree of avidya remains. Yet, as the prarabdha keeps getting exhausted, prarabdha is not the same fixed one. Prarabdha karma he is enjoying. As the days pass, with each passing day, prarabdha getting exhausted. Then the trace of avidya is also getting exhausted. Gradually it gets exhausted. When all the prarabdha goes away, then complete avidya gets exhausted. So that avidya lesha goes away because he is continuously in his Vedanta vichara, because he is teaching others. He is teaching Vedanta to others. When he is continuously teaching Vedanta to others, in that thing he is in that Brahma Anusandhana. He is continuously in in tune with Brahman. Brahma Anusandhana, continuously in tune with Brahman. So that continuous tune with Brahman eliminates even the trace of avidya. Then the body, when the body falls, you got no question at all, no doubt at all, he becomes a completely non-dual Brahman. Completely non-dual Brahman. Okay? Now, you have no doubts left out. You have no questions left out. We have answered all your questions. Thoroughly we have answered all your questions. Now you have no doubt, no question is left with you. To this Siddhanti says, Atrapyanupapattis tadavastaiva. Siddhanti Sachidananda Swamiji, who takes a Shankara stand, he says, even in this explanation, the same problem continues. Anupapattihi, untenability continues, unacceptability. Unacceptability continues to be the same. Katham vidya. What is that unacceptability? Unacceptability continues like before. As we have raised objection, the unacceptability continues like before. Vidya vidyayorekadi karanatva ayoga, because in your explanation there is one problem, that is jnanam and a trace of ajnanam both exist in one person. Jnanam one side and ajnanam one side. How can jnanam ajnanam coexist? Ekadi karanatva ayoga ayogat. Two cannot exist in one place. Nahi viruddha svabhavayo tama prakashayo riba yujjate ekatra samaveshaha. Because darkness and light cannot coexist. Therefore, light, jnanam and ajnanam cannot coexist. This is the point to be discussed. Here, a big discussion starts. A big discussion. They try to prove that coexistence is possible. Jnanam, ajnanam can coexist. Light and darkness can coexist. Okay? This is an important topic. We will discuss. This is also an important stand of Mulavidya Vadins. We will discuss in the next class. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om Tat Sat. Narayana, Narayana. See, just one small point. I have not completely recovered from my long ill health. With just like a trace of ill health is there, it is continuing. I am still managing somehow, but certain days it becomes a little more. I have to still undergo tests. Since some people repeatedly asking me why there is no Mulavidya class, why no Mulavidya class, for sake of them I am answering again. I thought they would understand, but anyway I am answering again. I have to undergo still test. For that it is getting postponed. I have to go to Hassan and undergo test and then get treated. Then I will become totally complete. Then it will be much better, easy for me to do. So still I am managing with a little difficulty. So on certain day, if it is still unbearable, that day I skip the class. The skipping may continue for few days also. Okay. So saying these things again and again, why no class, why no class, why are you skipping? This is like a nakshatraka, don't behave. Okay. When I am free, I love to discuss Vedanta. What else is there better than Vedanta in life? So naturally, whenever I feel little better, I definitely discuss Vedanta. Okay. So the day when I cannot, then understand that there is this problem. Okay. I hope hereafter this kind of messages, this kind of doubts will not, questions will not come. Om.